I'm Ashton Addison from BlockWest Capital for InvestmentPitch Media and the Crypto Coin Show. And today on Blockchain Interviews, we have Katherine and Johanna, founder of MEXC Pioneer and of the Metathon the Metaverse Alliance. Welcome to the show, both of you. Thank you so much for taking the time, and it is a pleasure to have you on.
Thank you, Ashton, for having us on the show, and nice to be connected, everyone.
Hey guys, thanks for the time, Ashton.
You're very welcome. I really do love MEXC, and I know that there's a lot of interesting innovations going on MEXC Pioneer, new incubations, the Metaverse, which we will get into. But I would love to kick it off, Katherine, if you could talk a little bit about what is MEXC Pioneer and what are the initiatives that you're driving into the blockchain space to start.
Thank you, Ashton. I like the question a lot. Actually, people used to know about MEXC is more likely as a centralized exchange, right? Mainly in the secondary for spot trade in South Asia. But we have decided this year to make one step a little bit further in order to bring more benefits into the industry, not just being a simple exchange existing here. So we have funded MEXC Pioneer Foundation in order to give all the necessary tools to the enterprises, developer teams with great potential, great product, in order to turn their dream into reality. So we have scaled up all these source points that, that's demanded for making a perfect project, from 0 to 100. And no matter what kind of project it is, and no matter what kind of circumstances or status it is on, as long as we see the potential, we'll be more than happy to help them out and to push them to where they want to be. And align together with our centralized exchange, MEXC Global, I believe we can take care of the initial market and the secondary market together. Thank you.
Great. No, I think that's a great introduction. And you're right, having the exchange obviously is going to be a huge factor in having the amount of liquidity and getting it kicked off from the intro. But more importantly, having that 0 to 100 and those steps in having the proper incubation of a project to make sure that it is a success. Obviously, the beginning of the project is going to be super important, is good to have. And I'm curious to know a little bit more about that. I know that you're working with different projects. There's different use case industries that are hotter than others right now. Can you talk a little bit about, Katherine, how it's been going so far? Are you focused on a specific industry? Is there anything specific for startups that you really like, that works well, starting to use Pioneer as a launchpad?
Yeah, for sure. Actually, before, we're more likely operating like a centralized exchange. So our work, it will be like more involved towards traditional operation towards a centralized exchange, which would be charging fee, helping listing, giving them PR right before listing happens. And people always, say that, centralized exchanges do not really make enough contribution to the industry. We're just here sitting there and taking people's money and just, manage liquidity, events, marketing, and boom, get the project listed. And for most of the time that, frankly speaking, I don't think we have treated every single project in a very detailed, perfect way. Sometimes too rushy, sometimes we don't provide enough help. So that's why, for all centralized exchanges, we're facing one issue, that somebody point a finger on you, says you're great, but somebody puts a finger on you, says you're horrible. So, that's the major reason why we established, Pioneer. As for Pioneer, it actually established, I would say, in June this year. But before that, we have already started, the entire operation by onboarding a lot of, including all the popular trendy public chain right now that's in the market, like Solana, Avalanche, Polygon, Algorand, Near, Protocol. Even we're helping, public chain to be built, not on the technology side, but more likely relate to the ecosystem side. So, and also along with foundation, KOLs, communities, all necessary tools towards marketing, token strategy, tokenomics are being also taken care of. So with the portfolio so far, what we have done is we have actually helped and deeply involved ourselves in more than 100 projects so far. I can give you a couple of examples. The latest listed project, Colony, will be the most recent one. And the first project we actually work with Solana will be RDM. With Polygon, it will be QuickSwap. And with Avalanche, I can give you a couple more because there are a lot of Avalanche outcomes lately. So all those projects actually reach out to us, or we're in touch with them at different stage. Not all of them are at very early stage. So we stimulated their current circumstances and gave them whatever we have that suits their demand, especially in the South Asian market. So this will be something we have done so far. And also we built a very, I would say, deep collaboration with the public chain. I can say that we're the first centralized exchange that made that step out to support the public chain ecosystem, which can be tracked back in 2019 December, firstly with Solana. So that's why we really appreciate the friendship between Solana and MEXC side, even till today, that they're giving us a lot of good sourcing and deal flows. And same with Avalanche and Polygon and Algorand. And when it comes down to startup companies, I think what I do care about the most, I will kind of, give you 3 points, bullet points. Number one, the path they're on. So we're very interested towards DeFi, Web3, GameFi, Metaverse. And number two, I think, which will be very important, which will be the team. Me personally, I really prefer teams with dedication and good attitude and humble qualities. And also, most importantly, be responsible for taking the project in a longer term. Because for me, myself, I have worked in industry for the past years, actually, always exchanges. So I've spoke with hundreds or even thousands of projects in total. I do probably 20 a day. And I can make the call, in like 15 minutes, I can tell if this developer team is even serious about if they want to take this project long-termly, or they just want to do a pump and dump really quick. So I think the team matters a lot. And last thing I think, which would be very important, we'll look at, will be the potential of their, tech ability. For Pioneers, and we're not just looking at a specific product from one team. We're actually looking at the technology building ability from developer team. They might fail on this current one, but the next one, they can do much better. So this is the most important, aspects that we will look into. Thank you. I hope I answered your question.
Definitely. Yeah, no, that covered a lot. And it's great to hear that Pioneer is working with all of the up and coming blockchains that, with the exchanges in those blockchains and ecosystems as well. It's great to hear about Avalanche, Near Protocol, Solana. A fan of all these up and coming blockchains. And I think that there's a lot of really innovative projects that are working on some of these lesser known platforms, and not just on Ethereum. And it's pushing the industry forward. And I also wanted to mention that I have used MEXC Exchange for a long time. I really do like it. I really think it is one of the up and coming exchanges as well. I would recommend it to others, and to have a launchpad where you can get into projects with strong teams at the very beginning and then have them on the exchange as well, I think is super valuable. And you also,
Ashton.
You're very welcome. And you also mentioned there that there's all these different industries that you're focused on, different use cases. You mentioned GameFi and Metaverse, which have been really hot in the last month or two, with a lot of these decentralized metaverses exploding, and with Facebook changing their name to Meta. We're really on the cusp of something huge here. And I know that we have Metathon with us as well. And I would like to dive into that industry a little bit. And if you could talk about how close you guys are looking at GameFi and Metaverses, and how Metathon and the Metaverse Alliance fits into Pioneer.
Thank you, Ashton. Actually, when it comes down to GameFi and Metaverse, I do think those two things are separate, but I do also think those two things can be combined. So with GameFi, I think it's a type of project that can cross through the bull and the bear. This is always how I look at it. So, for the ups and downs that we have been through for the past years, I think everybody has been, I know so many people that got so rich, during one bull run, and when the bear hits, they lose everything. So we do see this, people hitting the peak and also, fell to the bottom. But with GameFi being existed, what I have observed so far is no matter how bad the market is, in real life, people, it's always a fan of playing games. Even for crypto people, like me myself, I'm super busy all the time. I have 40 calls every day probably, but I still manage to spare probably a couple, 30 minutes or a couple hours to get on my phone and play around, about the games and stuff. And the young generation spends, I believe, more than 50% of the time on game-related apps or websites, especially in South Asia. The play to earn has gone way too hot. People are really dedicated into the game. They're very interested in while they can make money. So that's the reason why I say that GameFi can be crossing the bull and the bear. And as for Metaverse, things gonna come down to NFT, right? I do remember the movie I have. Sorry guys, I had a call run in. Can you guys hear me now right now?
Yep.
Right. So I do remember years ago, I have watched a movie called Avatar, and that movie actually came out was another movie called the year of 2012, I believe, around the same time. So people were actually comparing those two because they're all about protecting the future, right? Protecting the technology and everything, and it's unbelievable that it could also be the future and the digital can be so perfectly combined together. And we do see extraordinary things coming out. And even on TikTok, I see people talking about Metaverse. Even sometimes they put Metaverse as a wrong tag on a wrong product, but it's definitely a very hot topic everybody's paying attention to. So I do think if ever the bear is going to hit, GameFi and Metaverse will carry along the volume, the liquidity, and also bring the new blood into the industry. So this will be my, view towards those two paths, and that's the major reason why, I appreciate very much that I have met Johanna. In the South Asia market, it's actually very, very small, the industry circle. We had so many common friends, but we never really bump into each other and had a conversation. So when I heard that she is running a hackathon, and to be specific, a metathon, I like the name she actually put it on, with Dora Hacks, that actually is a very good timing. And the way the metathon has been operated with all the common partners we have, I believe it's going to bring out a lot of great portfolios to carry along the bull run. Yeah, thank you, Ashton.
Definitely. Thank you. And I would love to learn more about that. I really appreciate you talking about the difference between GameFi and Metaverse, because I don't think a lot of people fully understand that that they are separate, but can also be the same as well. And to dive into more of the Metaverse, there's different worlds coming out right now. Some have been around for a few years, right? But there's so much being incubated. And I'm guessing that the hackathon for either to build metaverses or to build NFTs in metaverses, I would love to know more about that and how Pioneer is involved.
Yes, actually was the Metathon this run that I think my major dedication and KPI, which would be focused on the portfolios that has participated, in the hackathon, and also we are bringing a lot of related product that we have discovered on our own, from very early stage team with a great product to also test out the market. So you can, I think it can be summed up into 2 bullet points. Number 1, to discover early stage portfolio, and number 2, to have our portfolios product being tested out by the market. So I think those 2 major things will be the most important thing that we're concentrating on as for this time Metathon. And I believe this will be the first time, but it would never be that last time. So because with Johanna itself, we're going to run a couple probably twice every year with Pioneers and we probably would target different topic or different path. So yeah, I hope I answered your question. Thank you, Ashton.
Definitely. Yeah, no, it's great to hear that you're going to continue on. And I'm guessing that the way that metaverses are right now in the end of 2021 will probably be way different than they are 2 to 3 years from now after the development. So is this Metaverse Alliance, this is obviously kicking off a relationship with MEXC Pioneer that's going to be lasting throughout years potentially to come, but also adapting to different changes in the industry and hopefully, better graphics, more engagement in the metaverse, more GameFi where you can actually have finance and functionality in the metaverse. Are you already seeing that right now working with the Alliance, or how far along do you think are these startups that are building in the metaverse?
Actually, I have seen or I have observed the changes already. Before the metaverse were GameFi project developers, or I would say pretty independent and random. So they could be, pumping up together, making some project together, getting a product ready. So we see them pretty like, something here, something there, right? But latest status, what I have observed is there is more and more big companies, game companies that's looking or paying attention into GameFi and Metaverse in our industry. I see more the potential animokas popping out. Mm-hmm. And they're actually very big companies that have running games that's been operating for years. They have great developers. They have a live game with a lot of users, and they're actually paying attention into this. So this is actually the biggest change I have seen. And also this gives me a lot of confidence that I believe GameFi and Metaverse will carry along with much, I would say like more things to be shown in the future. And when it refers to the future, I'm not talking about like really a long time ago. I'm talking about probably next year. Probably it would not even take that long time, right? So with the profession from the game, experts involving into our industry, with those two things combined together, with the expert from crypto industry, expert from the games, I think this could be something we can see some, interesting chemistry interaction out of it. So I do see there is change. People are getting actually really, really professional. People who has participated in it, we're looking at it, are involving big names of companies. So I believe this thing will carry along, for a while.
Mm-hmm. I completely agree. And I'm excited to see how it plays out even next year. There's so much to do in the metaverse, and very cool. And Johanna, I'd love to learn a little bit more about the hackathon. Who's participating? Is it just focused on metaverses, and is it across different protocols, or what else can you tell me about Metathon?
Yeah, thanks, Ashton. So basically, the Metaverse Alliance is a brand new organization which was organized by the Republic Capital and LD Capital altogether. And so basically, we're helping to onboard all the different aspects in this whole industry, including the venture capitals and also the top tier ones, public chains, for example, the Binance Smart Chains, and also Polygon, Solana's, to onboard to participate altogether. So we are looking for have some good developer teams to help to build the metaverse ecosystems altogether. So we've seen the market for the GameFi is already being hyped for the most recent months. It's already been a while. So I think it's a good time for us to slow down a little bit and to try to clear how does this market look like in maybe a long term or in next coming quarters. So we also set the 5 topics for the Metathon as well, including like decentralized ID focused, also the financial product of the NFT, and how do we gonna use the token transfer across chains, and how does the digital asset can be used under different metaverse platforms and their circumstances. So I think that will be a good chance either from the projects or the development teams to show up themselves in front of all the venture capitals and the chains and also the organizations like Pioneer here as well, to let them to see how any creative ideas or the thoughts about the whole industry do they have, and also a good chance for the venture capitals and for us to trying to see if there are more chances or the opportunities outside what we already have here in our hand. So yes, that's all about the metaverse.
Very cool, Johanna. And I really love how you just touched there on like the 5 segments. I think a lot of people that hear about the metaverse, they just think like, oh, it's just some graphics and you're in like a world or you're in a game, but there's so much more to it. And what you talked about there with like how you're going to transfer the tokens, how you're going to create NFTs, you know, what else is involved with the metaverse in the interaction with other chains, or even just interaction with real life or AR and different things like that. So I think that's super cool to have all these different projects working on little different parts of the metaverse that people wouldn't really think about. And is this on live right now? There's already teams working on these. Is there room for other people to contribute, or for more venture capitalists to contribute, or for other users? How else can people get involved into the Metathon?
Yeah, so currently we are at the first stage that we'll come to all different projects to submit their applications via our official website. And this is going to be ended at the end of this month. So roughly a month period for all the devs teams and the projects to submit their applications. And also in the long run, because we welcome all the different partnerships to jump into the circle to provide whatever the great resources they already have, either for the community side and also maybe for the token design as well. We wanted to have a more healthy background about all the different aspects in the whole industry, and to provide whatever support we could have for the early stage projects and products. So no matter which stage we are in, we always welcome the venture capitals or the great projects who have already been tested in the market, have good reputations and community side. It's good for us to communicate and share all the advice and talks all together anytime about this. And it's going to be a long-term one, just like Katherine mentioned before. So we're going to have a regular talk about the different topics regularly. So it's different aspects and the different opinions. Always welcome to everyone on board.
That's great to know. And yeah, it's definitely not just a one-time thing. Each day, people are getting more integrated into the metaverse, and we'll see. Hopefully not, but sooner rather than later, people might prefer it over the reality that we live in. So thank you for all that information. I'm excited to see not just this hackathon, but the relationship, as you mentioned, moving forward with Pioneer and the increase in metaverses into blockchain and into gaming. For the viewers and for other teams and everybody who's interested, how can they learn more about the Metathon, Johanna?
Yeah, we have our official website, Medium, and also the Twitter account. We're going to publish all the updates via all these channels. And also you could join us on the Discord group as well. We have the link, and we will post whatever the project status and also the portfolio performance updates there as well. So yeah, just follow us on all the channels here. We will share whatever the feedback we have in the market.
Sounds great, Johanna. I will leave those links to the Metathon and the Twitter, Discord, everything that you mentioned there in the description box below. I will also leave all the information to MEXC Pioneer and MEXC in general. All the best to this Metathon. I'm going to go check it out right now, actually, and see what's cooking in the metaverse. I appreciate you both for coming on the show. Thank you so much for taking the time, and all the best moving forward. Let's follow up in the near future.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ashton.